Welcome to Topical Economics, where we simplify complex economic concepts and help you ace your understanding of economics. In today's video, we are diving into the nature of the economic problem, a fundamental concept that affects every aspect of our economic decisions. We will explore multiple choice questions that challenge our understanding of scarcity, limited resources, and unlimited wants. We will break down each question, highlighting not only the correct answer but also explaining why the other options fall short. By the end of this video, you will have a clearer grasp of the economic problem and its implications, empowering you to tackle these concepts with confidence. So, let's get started and uncover the mysteries behind the economic problem. Starting with the first question. What is an example of a free good? A. Defense. B. Education. C. Health services. D. Sunshine. This question is from your 2022 May-June version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option D. Sunshine. A free good is something that is abundant in nature and does not have an opportunity cost, meaning it is available without cost to society and is not limited by scarcity. Sunshine fits this definition because it is naturally available and does not require resources to produce or consume. On the other hand, Option A, defense, Option B, education, and Option C, health services, are all economic goods, which are limited in supply and require resources to produce or provide, thus incurring an opportunity cost. Moving to the second question. To help reduce the price of oil, new supplies are needed. However, objectors oppose exploration of new sites because of the environmental damage it may cause. Why is this statement an example of the basic economic problem? A. Oil is a limited resource. B. Oil is expensive. C. The exploration involves demand and supply. D. There are external costs involved in production. This question is from year 2021 October-November version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option A, oil is a limited resource. This statement reflects the basic economic problem, which is the issue of scarcity. Resources are limited while human wants are unlimited. Oil is a finite, non-renewable resource, and the need for more supplies highlights its scarcity. While the other options have valid points. Option B, oil is expensive, does not address scarcity directly but rather the price, which can be influenced by scarcity. Option C, the exploration involves demand and supply, is related to market mechanisms but does not address the core issue of limited resources. And Option D, there are external costs involved in production, points to environmental impacts but is not the central focus of the basic economic problem, which is scarcity and the need to allocate resources efficiently. Moving to the third question. A government reduces Social Security spending by $10 billion in order to increase defense spending by $10 billion. What is this an example of? A. Expansionary fiscal policy. B. Market forces. C. Price stability. D. Reallocation of resources. This question is from year 2021 February-March version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option D, reallocation of resources. This scenario describes a reallocation of resources, where the government redirects funds from one area, Social Security, to another, defense. This shift represents the government's decision to prioritize spending differently without increasing overall expenditure. Let us analyze other options as well. Option A, expansionary fiscal policy, involves increasing overall government spending or cutting taxes to stimulate the economy, which isn't the case here. Option B, market forces, refers to supply and demand in a free market determining the allocation of resources, but this decision is a direct government action, not market-driven. And Option C, price stability, involves controlling inflation to keep prices stable, which is unrelated to shifting funds between sectors. Moving on to the fourth question. Why do consumers have to make choices when spending their income? A. Advertising encourages consumer spending. B. Consumers have unlimited incomes. C. Consumer wants cannot all be satisfied with their income. D. Not all products will be attractive to consumers. This question is from year 2020 October-November version 3 paper. The correct answer for this question is option C. Consumer wants cannot all be satisfied with their income. Consumers face scarcity, meaning their income is limited while their wants are unlimited. This requires them to make choices about what to purchase, as they cannot afford to satisfy all their desires within their income constraints. When we look at the other options, option A, advertising encourages consumer spending, may influence preferences, but doesn't explain the necessity to make choices. Option B, consumers have unlimited incomes, is incorrect. If incomes were unlimited, consumers wouldn't need to choose. And option D, not all products will be attractive to consumers, may impact their preferences but doesn't address why they have to make choices due to limited income. Moving on to the fifth question. What causes economic agents to make choices? A. Limited needs and wants. B. The existence of finite resources. C. The existence of free goods. D. The market mechanism. This question is from year 2020 October-November version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is option B. The existence of finite resources. Economic agents, such as consumers, firms, and governments, must make choices because resources are finite or limited, while wants are generally unlimited. This scarcity of resources is the foundation of the basic economic problem, forcing agents to prioritize and make decisions about how to allocate resources effectively. Looking at the other options. Option A, limited needs and wants, is incorrect because wants are typically unlimited, which contributes to the need for choice. Option C, the existence of free goods, does not create the need for choices since free goods are abundant and do not face scarcity. And option D, the market mechanism, refers to how resources are allocated in an economy, but it is not the fundamental reason choices are needed. Moving on to the sixth question. What is the basic economic problem? A. Excess supply of goods and services. B. Lack of profits. C. Recession. D. Scarcity of resources. This question is from year 2020 October-November version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is option D. Scarcity of resources. The basic economic problem is scarcity, meaning that resources are limited while human wants and needs are unlimited. This scarcity requires individuals, firms, and governments to make choices about how to allocate resources effectively. Looking at the other options. Option A, excess supply of goods and services, can occur temporarily but is not a fundamental economic problem. Option B, lack of profits, is a concern for businesses but does not represent the underlying economic issue for society as a whole. And option C, recession, is an economic downturn, not the central problem that drives all economic activity. Moving on to the seventh question. A natural resource was discovered in a country. The exploitation of this resource allowed the country to double its gross domestic product within 10 years. Why did this not solve the basic economic problem? A. Exploiting the resource required high expenditure on capital equipment. B. Exploiting the resource caused significant environmental damage. C. Gross domestic product was unevenly distributed in the country. D. Wants still exceeded the resources available to meet those wants. This question is from year 2020 May-June version 3 paper. Moving on to the eighth question. What identifies a finite resource? A. The resource does not renew itself. B. The supply of the resource is greater than demand. C. There is no opportunity cost for the resource. D. There is unlimited supply of the resource. This question is from year 2019 October-November version 3 paper. The correct answer for this question is option A. The resource does not renew itself. A finite resource, also known as a non-renewable resource, is one that does not naturally replenish on a human timescale. Once it is used up, it cannot be replaced or takes an extremely long time to renew, e.g., fossil fuels like oil and coal. Looking at the other options. Option B, the supply of the resource is greater than demand, does not define a finite resource, it relates to market conditions. Next, option C, there is no opportunity cost for the resource, is incorrect. Finite resources usually have an opportunity cost because they are scarce. And option D, there is unlimited supply of the resource, is incorrect, as finite resources are, by definition, limited in supply. Moving to the 9th question. What do economies aim to achieve in tackling the economic problem of scarcity? A. Equal balance between public and private sectors. B. Equal reward for equal effort. C. Increased competition in the use of resources. D. Optimum allocation of finite resources. This question is from year 2018 October-November version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is option D. Optimum allocation of finite resources. Economies aim to achieve the optimum allocation of finite resources to tackle the problem of scarcity. Since resources are limited, the goal is to allocate them as efficiently as possible to maximize the satisfaction of wants and needs within those constraints. Looking at the other options. Option A, equal balance between public and private sectors, is a policy choice but not a fundamental solution to scarcity. Option B, equal reward for equal effort, addresses equity rather than the allocation of resources. And option C, increased competition in the use of resources, may improve efficiency but is not the primary goal in addressing scarcity. Moving to the 10th question. Hospital services are provided by the government and paid for through taxation. People cannot always get the treatment they require because of long waiting lists. Of what is this an example? A. External cost. B. Market system. C. Perfectly inelastic supply. D. Scarcity. This question is from year 2018 October-November version 3 paper. The correct answer for this question is option D. Scarcity. This situation illustrates scarcity in the healthcare system. Even though hospital services are funded through taxation, the demand for these services can exceed the available supply, leading to long waiting lists for treatment. Scarcity occurs when resources, in this case, healthcare services, are insufficient to meet all the wants and needs of the population. When we look at the other options. Option A, external cost, refers to costs that are incurred by third parties who are not directly involved in a transaction. This does not apply here. Option B, market system, suggests a system where supply and demand determine prices and allocation. This scenario describes a government-provided service, not a market-driven one. And option C, perfectly inelastic supply, indicates a situation where supply does not change with price, which is not the main issue here. The waiting lists reflect the inability to meet demand, not an unchanging supply in response to price changes. Moving to the 11th question. What is the basic problem facing all economies? A. How to achieve a stable balance of payments. B. How to maximize tax revenues. C. How to reach full employment. D. How to use scarce resources. This question is from year 2018 October-November version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is option D. How to use scarce resources. The basic problem facing all economies is how to effectively allocate and use scarce resources to meet the unlimited wants and needs of society. This scarcity necessitates choices and trade-offs in resource allocation. When we look at the other options. Option A, how to achieve a stable balance of payments, is a specific economic issue but not the fundamental problem. Option B, how to maximize tax revenues, pertains to fiscal policy but does not address the core issue of scarcity. And option C, how to reach full employment, is an important economic goal but is not the basic problem related to resource allocation. Moving to the 12th question. What is the cause of the economic problem facing all countries? A. Climate change and global warming. B. Significant quantities of unemployed resources. C. Uneven distribution of income and wealth. D. Unlimited wants in relation to limited resources. This question is from year 2018 May-June version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is option D. Unlimited wants in relation to limited resources. The economic problem faced by all countries arises from the fact that wants and needs are unlimited, while the resources available to satisfy those wants are limited. This fundamental imbalance creates the necessity for choice and prioritization in resource allocation. Looking at the other options. Option A, climate change and global warming, are significant issues but do not directly explain the basic economic problem of scarcity. Option B, significant quantities of unemployed resources, may be a challenge in certain contexts, but does not address the overarching issue of scarcity. And option C, uneven distribution of income and wealth, highlights a problem related to equity but is not the root cause of the economic problem itself. Moving to the 13th question. Economics textbooks identify the existence of scarcity as the basic economic problem. What is it that makes scarcity a problem? A. It can cause inflation and unemployment. B. It is impossible to satisfy unlimited wants. C. It is the first priority of governments. D. It only affects the richest countries. This question is from year 2018 May-June version 3 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option B. It is impossible to satisfy unlimited wants. Scarcity is a problem because it highlights the fundamental conflict between limited resources and unlimited human wants. This imbalance necessitates choices and trade-offs, as it is impossible to meet all desires with the available resources. Looking at the other options. Option A, it can cause inflation and unemployment, relates to the effects of economic policies and market conditions, but does not directly define why scarcity is a problem. Option C, it is the first priority of governments, may reflect a governmental focus, but does not explain the nature of scarcity itself. And Option D, it only affects the richest countries, is also incorrect. Scarcity is a universal issue that affects all countries, regardless of wealth. Moving to the 14th question. In economics, natural sunlight is classified as a free good. What is the reason for this? A. Sunlight is a gift of nature. B. Sunlight is a renewable resource. C. There is no opportunity cost of using sunlight. D. Unlimited amounts of sunlight can be consumed. This question is from year 2018 May-June version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option C. There is no opportunity cost of using sunlight. Natural sunlight is classified as a free good because it is abundant and using it does not incur any opportunity cost. This means that consuming sunlight does not diminish its availability for others, and it can be used without sacrificing other resources or goods. Looking at the other options. Option A, sunlight is a gift of nature, is a true statement but does not specifically explain why it is considered a free good in economic terms. Option B, sunlight is a renewable resource, is accurate, as sunlight can be replenished, but this alone does not define it as a free good. And Option D, unlimited amounts of sunlight can be consumed, is misleading. While sunlight is abundant, there are limits based on location and time of day, but the key reason it is considered a free good is the absence of opportunity cost. Moving to the 15th question. What best describes the problem of scarcity? A. All consumer wants must be satisfied. B. All resources are free at the point of use. C. There are limited resources and unlimited wants. D. There are unlimited resources and limited wants. This question is from year 2018 February-March version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option C. There are limited resources and unlimited wants. The problem of scarcity is fundamentally about the limitations of resources in the face of unlimited human wants and needs. This mismatch creates the need for choices in how to allocate resources effectively. When we see the other options. Option A, all consumer wants must be satisfied, is incorrect because scarcity means not all wants can be fulfilled. Option B, all resources are free at the point of use, is not accurate. Many resources have costs associated with them. And Option D, there are unlimited resources and limited wants, is the opposite of the basic economic problem, as scarcity arises precisely because resources are limited. Moving to the 16th question. An oil company announced in 2015 that it was starting its drilling operations for oil deposits in the Arctic Ocean. What will be the effect of this? A. To increase the supply of raw materials. B. To reduce the level of technology available. C. To solve the economic problem. D. To worsen resource allocation. This question is from year 2017 October-November version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is option A, to increase the supply of raw materials. When an oil company begins drilling operations for oil deposits, it typically leads to an increase in the supply of raw materials, in this case, oil. This increase in supply can help meet demand for oil and potentially affect prices in the market. When we look at the other options, option B, to reduce the level of technology available, is incorrect. Drilling for oil often involves advanced technology rather than a reduction in technological capabilities. Option C, to solve the economic problem, is not accurate, as the economic problem of scarcity is not solved by merely increasing supply, it requires efficient resource allocation. And option D, to worsen resource allocation, is also not directly related. While there can be environmental concerns, the immediate effect of drilling is an increase in the supply of a finite resource. Moving to the 17th question. Which combination of terms gives the general definition of the economic problem? A. Bigger families, less food, starvation. B. Falling supply, rising demand, shortage. C. Higher population, fewer jobs, unemployment. D. Limited resources, unlimited wants, scarcity. This question is from year 2017 May-June version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is option D, limited resources, unlimited wants, scarcity. This combination accurately captures the essence of the economic problem, which revolves around the conflict between limited resources, which are finite, and unlimited wants, which are infinite. This imbalance creates the condition of scarcity, necessitating choices and trade-offs in resource allocation. The other options do not provide a comprehensive definition of the economic problem. As we see option A, it discusses a specific scenario rather than the general concept. Looking at option B, it describes a situation of market dynamics but does not encompass the broader economic problem. Lastly, option C highlights issues related to employment but does not address the fundamental nature of scarcity and resource allocation. Moving to the 18th question. What is the best example of the existence of the economic problem? A. A government provides accommodation for all those who are homeless. B. A police force has a lengthening list of unsolved crimes. C. Janitha hands her homework in at the last permitted deadline. D. Musa completes his journey without putting petrol in his car. This question is from year 2016 May-June version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is option A. A government provides accommodation for all those who are homeless. This example effectively illustrates the economic problem of scarcity, which arises from limited resources, such as funding, housing units, and support services, in relation to unlimited wants, the need for accommodation for all homeless individuals. It demonstrates the challenge of allocating resources efficiently to meet societal needs. Proceeding with the 19th question. Why is choice an important part of the basic economic problem? A. Choice is necessary to achieve an equilibrium price. B. Limited resources have many uses. C. Manufacturers produce a large variety of foods. D. The market leads to an unequal distribution of goods. This question is from year 2015 October-November version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is option B. Limited resources have many uses. Choice is a crucial part of the basic economic problem because limited resources can be allocated to various uses, necessitating decisions about how to utilize them most effectively. This situation forces individuals, businesses, and governments to make choices about which wants and needs to satisfy first. When we look at the other options, they do not directly address why choice is important in the context of the economic problem. Option A, choice is necessary to achieve an equilibrium price, relates more to market dynamics rather than the foundational issue of scarcity and resource allocation. Option C, manufacturers produce a large variety of foods, describes diversity in production but does not explain the need for choice due to resource limitations. And Option D, the market leads to an unequal distribution of goods, discusses outcomes of market operations but does not explain the fundamental importance of choice in addressing scarcity. Proceeding with the 20th question. The government of a prosperous country announced that it would offer free food to its citizens for a year. What would be the effect of this measure? A. Agricultural resources would become unlimited. B. Human wants would become finite. C. More resources would be devoted to food production. D. The basic economic problem would be solved. This question is from year 2015 October-November version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option C, more resources would be devoted to food production. If the government offers free food to its citizens for a year, it is likely that more resources will be allocated toward food production to meet the increased demand. This measure can encourage farmers and producers to increase their output to ensure that enough food is available for distribution. The other options do not accurately reflect the implications of this measure. Option A, agricultural resources would become unlimited, is incorrect. Resources remain finite even if the government provides food for free. Option B, human wants would become finite, is not true. Offering free food does not change the fact that human wants are typically unlimited. And Option D, the basic economic problem would be solved, is misleading. While free food might alleviate some immediate concerns, the fundamental issue of scarcity and resource allocation would still exist. Proceeding with the 21st question. There has been increased concern about the way large firms exploit the environment. What is the main reason for this concern? A. Large firms are unprofitable because of diseconomies of scale. B. Large firms combine together to fix prices. C. The exploitation of resources is expensive. D. Unlimited wants will use up the finite resources. This question is from year 2015 October-November version 3 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option D, unlimited wants will use up the finite resources. The main reason for concern about large firms exploiting the environment is that their operations often prioritize meeting unlimited consumer wants, which can lead to the overuse and depletion of finite natural resources. This exploitation can result in significant environmental degradation, as firms may prioritize profits and production over sustainability. The other options which are given do not directly address the primary concern regarding environmental exploitation. Option A, large firms are unprofitable because of diseconomies of scale, is not relevant to the environmental concerns, as the focus is on resource use rather than profitability. Option B, large firms combine together to fix prices, pertains to anti-competitive behavior but does not directly relate to environmental exploitation. And Option C, the exploitation of resources is expensive, does not capture the essence of the concern. It focuses on costs rather than the environmental impact of resource exploitation. Proceeding with question 22. Water is a scarce resource in Singapore because the island's small geographical area means there is little land on which to collect water for its 4.8 million people. Which method would be least successful in tackling its water scarcity? A. Exempting large families from paying water taxes. B. Importing water from neighboring countries. C. Introducing a water tax that rises as consumption rises. D. Redirecting funds from education to schemes to purify rainwater. This question is from year 2015 May-June version 3 paper. The correct answer for this question is Option A, exempting large families from paying water taxes. Exempting large families from paying water taxes would likely be the least successful method in tackling water scarcity. This approach could lead to increased water consumption among those families, as they would have no financial incentive to conserve water, potentially exacerbating the scarcity problem. The other options provide more effective strategies. Option B, importing water from neighboring countries, could help increase the supply of water. Option C, introducing a water tax that rises as consumption rises, would incentivize conservation by making higher consumption more costly. And option D, redirecting funds from education to schemes to purify rainwater, could lead to better water resource management and purification, although it raises concerns about reallocating funds from education. Proceeding with question 23. What is the basic economic problem? A. Finite resources and limited wants. B. Finite resources and unlimited wants. C. Infinite resources and limited wants. D. Infinite resources and unlimited wants. This question is from year 2015, May-June version 2. The correct answer for this question is option B, finite resources and unlimited wants. The basic economic problem arises from the reality that resources are limited, finite, while human wants and needs are virtually unlimited. This fundamental imbalance creates the necessity for choices and trade-offs in how resources are allocated to satisfy those wants. Let us evaluate the other options as well. Option A, finite resources and limited wants, misrepresents the nature of the economic problem since it does not account for the unlimited nature of human wants. Next, option C, infinite resources and limited wants, is not applicable, as it contradicts the concept of scarcity. And option D, infinite resources and unlimited wants, is also incorrect for the same reason, as it suggests that resources are not a constraint. Proceeding with question 24. To help reduce the price of oil, new supplies are needed. However, in 2013, objectors opposed attempts to explore new sites because of the environmental damage the exploration might cause. How does this illustrate the basic economic problem? A. Oil is a limited resource. B. Oil is expensive. C. The exploration involves demand and supply. D. There are external costs involved in production. This question is from year 2015, May-June version 1 paper. The correct answer for this question is option A, oil is a limited resource. This scenario illustrates the basic economic problem by highlighting that oil, as a finite resource, is subject to scarcity. The need to explore new sites for oil extraction arises because the existing supplies are limited. The opposition to exploration due to potential environmental damage reflects the trade-offs that society faces when managing limited resources. This situation emphasizes the conflict between the desire to obtain more oil to reduce prices and the environmental concerns associated with extraction, underscoring the fundamental economic problem of scarcity and resource allocation. Moving to the last question. China earns enough income to purchase large quantities of natural resources from developing countries. Which statement explains this situation? A. China does not experience the economic problem of scarcity. B. Supplies of natural resources in China are limited relative to demand. C. There are unlimited supplies of natural resources in developing countries. D. There is an excess stock of land in China. This question is from year 2015, February-March version 2 paper. The correct answer for this question is option B. Supplies of natural resources in China are limited relative to demand. This statement explains the situation because China's demand for natural resources exceeds its domestic supply, prompting the country to import large quantities from developing nations. The limited availability of certain natural resources within China relative to its high demand necessitates purchasing these resources from other countries. The other options given are less accurate. Let us look at those as well. Option A, China does not experience the economic problem of scarcity, is incorrect. China faces scarcity issues, particularly for certain resources. Next, option C, there are unlimited supplies of natural resources in developing countries, is misleading, as resources are finite and their availability can vary greatly among developing nations. Lastly, option D, there is an excess stock of land in China, does not directly relate to the issue of natural resource scarcity or the need for imports. Thank you so much for watching this video on the nature of the economic problem. I hope you found the explanations helpful and insightful. If you enjoyed the content and learned something new, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with your friends and classmates who might also benefit from understanding these important economic concepts. And if you want to keep up with more videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Your support means a lot and helps us continue creating valuable content. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.